What is up, everyone? It is Lovenji Gaming, and I am so glad to be back doing the classic of series. We never actually finished the covert operations of the original Command and Conquer, so we're going to be doing those for the Brotherhood of Nod. Now, a lot of people like the covert operation missions for Nod more than GDI because GDI's missions are quite basic, whereas the Brotherhood of Nods often require specific tactics. They have the infamous CNC under siege level. They have a couple of other difficult levels as well. So, we're starting with Bad Neighbourhood, not a particularly hard one, nice and easy to get us back into the series. So let's get this underway. What is up, everyone? Lovenji Gaming here, as you know from the intro already. We're going to spam click and deploy our MCV. Now, this is Bad Neighbourhood. You may have read the text, you may have not been able to read the text. Basically, what is going on here is if we get spotted by civilians, we're going to be alerting the GDI base. Now, the GDI base is quite powerful. Quite well fortified, so the idea is you're meant to build up a base and an army as quickly as possible without the civilians being able to spot you. Now there is a time trigger, I'm not sure exactly how long, but a villager will come out from the village and he will set a signal flare in your base, which is also a sign that GDI now know that you're there. Personally, I like to set flame troopers aside to kill him. I don't know if it has any impact on the trigger, on the level trigger, but I like to believe that it does. Anyway, you know our standard opening by now. You don't actually need that second power plant, so wasting time. But we want the airstrip so that we can produce extra harvesters, and that's what we're working on now. One harvester is going to cover the cost of the airstrip. I'm building in a diagonal to try and get as much build radius as possible for our base. There we go, we're going straight into a harvester and another refinery. Starting to try to build up our economy now, as you can often expect for levels like this. The economy that you're working from is going to be very important. Lots of the Tiberium is defended by GDI, so you are limited on how much you can gather without being spotted. But for the opening of the game, the amount of Tiberium available to you is it's passable. You can get away with it. So this used to be one of my favourite Nod covert operation missions. Actually, when I once did a 24-hour charity stream to raise money in which I played Command and Conquer. I did both campaigns, then all of Red Alert, and then went back to this and started doing Covert Ops for like the last hour. I had like an hour left of the stream.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This was actually the level that I ended that whole stream for. This is a very favourite one of mine as a child. It was very simple, very straightforward. I could also spam cheats. And you could build a pretty nice base when you're spamming cheats. So I didn't mind this level at all. I used to get really annoyed. So the GDI have the ion cannon in this level. The AI for the ion cannon is especially annoying. It will always blast a defensive structure if it can, i.e. your obelisk of light. There goes 1,500 bucks. That's the bridge to the village that I warned about. And if they can't do that, they hit one of your big structures like your weapons factory or your airstrip or your refinery. They're just generally really annoying. So that's me placing our flamethrowers to cover that bridge. As I was saying, I don't know if it has any effect on how long it takes GDI to spot you. I like to believe that it does, so I put the flame soldier there so that when someone comes to try to set a signal flare in my base, he dies. He dies horribly.
Reinforcements have arrived.
So we've got 4 harvesters. a good number of harvesters, believe it or not. This is, of course, a GDI level, or a level against GDI, so we have to be wary of the airstrike as well as everything else. I often find that dealing with GDI is a lot harder than dealing with non for the airstrike reasons. It's hard to build an army because it just keeps getting airstruck. Airstruck? Airstricken? I don't know. The airstrike hits it.
New construction options. Building.
So, with the comm center up, that gives us access to the 2 units that are going to be quintessential for winning this level. That is the flame tank and the light tank. The light tank you have as soon as you build the airstrip. But the combination of the 2 units are going to help us win the level, as well as a single solitary stealth tank is going to do all of our scouting for us. The way stealth tanks work in the first Command & Conquer is they will be spotted by a unit adjacent to them. You think of Command & Conquer as a grid-based game, where everything is tiles.
Building. Our base is under attack. Reinforcements
Anything on a tile next to, or in the case of infantry, the same tile. That was the infantry dying. We'll spot out the flame tank.
Building. Reinforcements have arrived.
So we're just now scouting with our flame tank. We're getting with our stealth tank, and we're getting a couple of flame tanks as well. GDI like their infantry, and not only are flame tanks good at tanking damage, they'll be good sponges for the GDI tanks, while our light tanks hammer away at them. They're very good anti-infantry tools. This is what I was starting to talk about some of the resources being protected. That mammoth tank protects one of the most crucial parts, and that is the northernmost Tiberium. The northernmost Tiberium is the only Tiberium in plenty. And as you can see, we've got GDI have started making a way into our base, which means we have quote-unquote been spotted. And the AI will start behaving accordingly now. Make sure we've got plenty of power, and we're going to start pumping out light tanks. We've got a couple of flame tanks, and those flame tanks are going to be useful for us. They'll deal with any infantry, but otherwise, our light tanks are really our only answer to the GDI mammoths that will be sent. And because we're dealing with mammoths, we need light tanks in a large number.
Reinforcements have arrived. Unable to comply.
As you can see, I'm just building, and building.
Reinforcements have arrived.
GDI APC run-bys will include commandos and NGs. The NGs you have to be careful with. The AI commandos are not terribly bright. And what I mean by that is they won't ever actually use the commandos' ability to destroy buildings. Much rather, they will just shoot with the sniper rifle. Which would be dangerous if we had much infantry, but as you know, we don't. So, we're making the most of a bad situation. We've only got a couple of light tanks. So we're making the light tanks focus down the mammoth tanks. The flame tanks can deal with the MRLS units relatively easy. The flame tank's going to tank the damage for us. We're just going to pump out even more light tanks. More flame tanks to replace the ones we've lost. And we're just going to explore this TIB field. And the reason we're going into this base and exploring this TIB field is because it actually gives us an entrance to the GDI base at the same time. Now, one of the infamous ways to beat this level is to wall crawl and then just wall GDI in. And that's one that a lot of people did when they realized how broken walls were.
Moving out. Yes, sir. Moving out. Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out.
So, we've snuck a light tank into the northernmost area of that base. And now we're going to get it further in because what we want to do is we want to see the ideal nuclear warhead spot. Nuclear warhead is very powerful. You only get one of them as the Brotherhood of Nod, and if you waste it, well, that's just too bad.
Reinforcements have arrived. Building. Construction complete.
But, as you can see, our harvesters now need access to the northernmost TIB field, which means our little armada of tanks has to act.
Yes, sir. Moving out. Yes, sir.
Reinforcements have
Yes, sir.
arrived.
Affirmative.
So we're bringing forth our flame tanks to provide anti-infantry support, but otherwise our light tanks are going to absolutely hammer this mammoth tank and clear a path to the northernmost tip field.
Affirmative.
We're going to build a second airstrip as well, because why not?
Unable to comply. Building in progress.
Faster build speed.
Construction complete.
Every building structure you build in the early Command & Conquer games increases your build speed. It does not provide a secondary construction queue. Construction queues didn't come in for a while in the world of Command & Conquer. But we have our nuke,
Select target.
and because we scouted, we know exactly where to throw the nuke.
Our base is under attack.
And there you go. That's why the nuclear weapon ruins games against the AI. They had a beautifully built base, and now they have no means to produce units.
Building in progress. Unable
So all we have to do
comply.
is keep
Building in
producing
progress.
tanks.
Unable to comply. Building
We
in
can sell our
progress.
Temple of Nod because it doesn't actually bring us anything anymore. Like I said, a one and done.
Construction complete.
You get a nuclear warhead, and once you fired it, you don't get another one. You can't sell and rebuild the temple
Construction
either.
complete.
Doesn't help.
Building. Reinforcements have arrived.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Construction complete.
Unit affirmative.
And now all we have to do is
Reinforcements have arrived.
be careful of the base defenses, first and foremost.
Yes, sir.
You have to be careful of the base defenses. They're still dangerous. They're still GDI base defenses.
Reinforcements have arrived.
But what we're going to be doing is camping the tip field
Reinforcements have arrived. Lost.
and destroying GDI's harvester, so they don't have an economy to repair their base with. I think this is an unnecessary step because, as you know, we took out their production structures, but I like to do it anyway.
Building.
Methodical is the name of the game here.
Construction.
Trying to do everything
Building.
sort of
Construction.
in an order that reduces the chance of it going horribly wrong.
Reinforcements have arrived.
And those of you that have tuned into my streams know that there are many, many chances that these levels can go horribly wrong. I'm always messing these
Unit
levels up.
lost.
So there goes the harvester.
Building.
GDI on this level, or GDI in general, are quite hard to break.
Reinforcements have arrived.
There's an additional objective that you have to destroy the village, which is what I'm doing here. I'm just making sure that my flamers destroy the village as well as kill themselves. That's why I hate flamethrowers, guys. They melt themselves more than they do anything against other people.
Cancel.
They're an effective unit for use in a tight spot, but otherwise I would really rather just avoid them entirely.
Construction complete. Reinforcements have arrived.
So we're amassing light tanks here, and
Reinforcements have arrived.
that's kind of it. We're just going to charge through the base.
Complete.
You can see the signal flare did get lit in our base behind our refinery.
Building.
That's meant to be the law reason the village has told GDI that we're here. GDI already know we're here. GDI already losing the war against us.
Building.
So the last kind of unit I need in my army are some rockets. And the reason we need the rockets is because you may have noticed when we ran our flame tank in earlier, GDI does make use of orcas. Light tanks are not very, very good against orcas for obvious reasons. So those rockets will take care of the orcas for us. And it looks like we can get that final building, which is always funny.
Unit ready.
There's our squadron of rockets. We've got control of the northern field. We've got control in the south. It's now a stranglehold, essentially. We're just going to squeeze the life out of it. Level will be more or less done.
Building.
There is a southernmost tip field as well that GDI likes to use.
Have arrived.
Attacking a harvester, if you haven't listened in any of the other videos, triggers an angry response from the AI, in which they'll often charge forward with whatever units they have in defense of their economy, because your economy is important in a game like this. You don't have a static economy like a game like StarCraft, where you have mineral fields that are often behind the base.
Construction
You have to
complete.
go out with your economic units to secure economy.
Reinforcements have arrived. Unit lost. Unit
So our rockets are just taking care of
lost.
the remaining orcas. We lost a couple, but that's fine. They've already taken out 2 orcas for us.
building.
Really thinned out the herd, as it were.
Construction complete.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Building. Unable to comply. Building in progress. Reinforcements have arrived.
Yes, sir. Moving out. Acknowledge. Moving out.
So we're sending in the flame tanks first. Flame tanks are quite resistant to structure damage.
Moving out.
And as you can see, they can just sort of soak up and tank everything. And the reason we're doing that is they're going to die for the power,
Acknowledge.
put the base offline, and then we more or less win the game. Without power, without structures,
Acknowledge.
Construction
GDI are dead.
complete.
Yes, sir.
And now we just go and we can push forward with the tanks, not the rockets. The rockets will die.
Cannot deploy here. Unit lost. Building.
Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Yes, sir. You acknowledge. Yes, sir.
So, that is bad neighborhood. It's important to be quick, but if you're quick, this level isn't very hard. The only real reason that you would fail this level is if GDI's attack captures you off guard, or you get spotted slightly early.
Yes, sir.
But if you play it patiently, get your economy up nice and fast, and just start churning out the flame tanks and the light tanks, you'll be fine. It's much harder to do if you use pure light tanks, which I don't recommend, because of the amount of infantry that GDI will send at you. Anyway, I've been Lovenji Gaming. I'll be quiet for the rest of the level, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye for now.
Vehicle reporting. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Report moving out. Report moving out.
Mission accomplished.
What can I say, everyone? That was Nod's Covert Ops Mission 1, Bad Neighbourhood. Very straightforward mission that requires you to play fast and sneakily, which is a common theme that comes up when it comes to the Brotherhood of Nod. Stealth is the name of the game, and quick hands and quicker armies make a victory for the Brotherhood of Nod. I've been Lovenji Gaming. As always, like, share the video, subscribe. Let me know what you liked, and let me know what other series you'd like covered in this series. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.